Welcome back to Occasional Randomness. I'm your host, Eric Scott, and joining me, as always, my fellow co-host, someone who probably hates the end of a series as much as I do, Jason Johnson.
It's crazy how they all died in that big explosion, though. I didn't see that coming. How about you?
Yeah, I thought it was kind of a bad way to go. You invest all this time and a love of the characters, and they just whack them all at the end. I'm like, what the heck?
Well, they actually told us that up front, right? I mean, it is the bad batch, so it's going to have a bad ending, right?
Yeah, I guess the batch expired, had an expiration date. Anyway, as you might expect, we'll talk about that later. Although that's not what happened, but spoiler alert if you haven't already seen it. So,
Did you watch a different show than I
yeah.
did?
Wait a minute, which episode? No. But yeah, so tonight we'll start off with the Farscape part, which will be our first multi-part episode of Farscape Season 4, with Episode 2, What Was Lost, Part 1, Sacrifice. And then after that, like we kind of joked about, we'll discuss the last 4 episodes of Season 3, and actually of the entire series, Star Wars The Bad Batch, Episodes 12 to 15, which really 15 was a double-sized episode, so really there's 16 episodes like the other 2 seasons, but I guess they just wanted to end it all in one big extravaganza, so that's what they did.
Yeah.
And as always, our little PSA announcement here. If you like what we do, please give us a like or a review wherever you listen to this at. Or better yet, help spread the word on social media or to your friends or in person, or if you still do that, you all stay at home. I don't know. Wherever you are, spread the word. Let everybody know about us. We'd appreciate it.
If you still interact with people, we're out here.
Yeah. If y'all don't still work from home, get out there and spread the word. All right, so this is the even numbered episodes. I believe you get the joy of recapping our first two-parter here.
All right. Well, nothing to do but jump into it, I guess. So let's go ahead and kick off Farscape Season 4, Episode 2, What Was Lost, Part 1, Sacrifice. Previously on Farscape, which wasn't actually previously on Farscape, but we'll get back to that. Braca tells Commandant Grayza that if an officer superior to her orders it, he will execute her without hesitation. Grayza replies, "So says every one of your psychological evaluations, Captain Braca." Then later, Scorpius tells Braca that Grayza is a manipulator, to which Braca responds that Scorpius no longer has a ship to command.
Well, yeah, we kind of saw it blow up last season. But anyway,
Yeah, well, in case you weren't remembering that from some reason. Like you may not remember that opening. And now on Farscape. Pilot tells John that Elec senses a planet nearby. And by the way, that's the old pilot, not our pilot. It'll make sense in a minute. But the weather patterns are interfering, while Rigel, Chiana, and Sikozu are trying to fix the scanners to no avail. Pilot asks why they're searching for this planet as it's uninhabitable. John replies that Jewel told them that every few cycles, the magnetics drop low enough for the dig team to stay for a while. Pilot relays that Elec doesn't sense any life forms, but is weak, so John tells her to rest as he and Chiana take a trip down to the planet, Arnesk. In some kind of temple, Chiana and John search around with flashlights. Then, as they get to a corner, they're met by an Interion, pointing his weapon at them. He threatens to kill Chiana if John doesn't drop his weapon, despite them explaining that he's not a peacekeeper. Jewel and Dargo suddenly come out, imploring the Interion, whose name is Tarnat, to get back. Dargo immediately rushes to John and gives him a hug, as Jewel does the same with Chiana, despite Tarnat's objections. Dargo asks John if Aaron and Rigel are with them, to which John says Rigel yes, but they haven't heard from Aaron. John asks if she's contacted them, but Dargo says no, not yet, but she will. Chiana asks Jewel if Moya's there, but Pilot and Moya are off looking for Aaron. John spots some symbols on a wall, and Dargo goes up to him telling him to cheer up. He has a lot to tell John about his travels. Meanwhile, Jewel announces that she's extremely happy to be there, alive, and no one trying to kill them. As they leave the room, a creature is seen in the water, listening to them. Jewel tells Crichton that this is the most important planet in the universe. When John asks about Moya getting spat out of a wormhole she was sucked into, Jewel doesn't remember, but says that Dargo has gone to find the weird old lady the crew picked up following the destruction of Scorpius' command carrier, and she'll explain what happened, since she spoke to Pilot for Arns about it. Jewel explains to John and Chiana how the sensors work to detect the magnetics, and how much habitable time is left, and explains that this temple is the greatest archaeological find for the last 1,000 cycles. Chiana, still suffering from the rough time she had away from Moya, breaks an artifact before storming off. John wants to go and find the old woman, but since Dargo is already looking for her, Jewel pleads with him to stay so she can tell him about this place. Chiana is looking for Dargo, who approaches her from behind. He tells her he couldn't find the old woman outside, so he came to look in there, and lets Chiana know that it's good to see her again. Jewel tells Crichton that 12,000 cycles ago, Arnescan priests worshipped at this temple and somehow maintained a truce with the Scarans and the Peacekeepers for 500 generations. No one knows how they achieved peace, as they just vanished one day, and no one knows why.
So much for the peace.
Yeah, so much for the peace. A woman, Instructor Vela, who is also at Interion, sneaks in saying that she knows why. First, she lets John know that she can see how Tarnat mistook him for a Sebacean. Same height, same color, but smaller brain capacity. She can see that John is not fascinated by the temple, and says that, believe it or not, this place was once a paradise. She picks up a probe and explains that 3 of them, which together form the Damaz Triangle, were launched by enemies of peace, creating magnetic summers that killed the priests and drove everyone away. Jewel adds that Vela had found 2 of the probes, and if she finds the 3rd, legend has it that she can reverse the effects, reactivating the Damaz Triangle. Dargo asks Chiana if Jewel is driving her crazy yet, and Chiana replies that she just keeps going on about this place. Dargo can understand why. It can be like an obsession, and they've been working here from dusk till dawn. Chiana is then disturbed to learn that Dargo and Jewel have had a fling, and asks how he always managed to stay so far ahead of the Peacekeepers, when she was always close to being caught. Dargo reveals his ship, which he has named Lola, after his deceased wife, and not the bunny, which has the capability to turn invisible, allowing him to remain hidden from the Peacekeepers. John explains to Rigel what is happening, and Rigel says that Moya better hurry because Alex almost done for. They need to get off her soon. Eternal comms are suddenly cut off because systems are starting to shut down. Sikozu is trying to get John's module started in case they might need it. On a command carrier, Braca shows Grayza a message that they intercepted. It's from Vela to Moya, telling them to retrieve Crichton and the others as soon as possible. Grayza tells Braca that he was right. They did follow the Interion to the planet. She tells him to get them there in 5 arns, but first to see something. She has Scorpius in the Aurora chair, where he says he finds her amateur attempts at torture most pleasurable. She says that maybe he can withstand it, maybe not, but the rod she has will make it all the more difficult. Braca inserts a yellow rod into Scorpius' cooling system, and Scorpius pleads with Braca not to do it because I made you. But Braca retorts, no, I made you. Grayza is confident now that he will tell her all the secrets about Crichton that he's holding on to because he fears that by revealing them, he will then be killed, and he's probably right. Crichton finds the old woman and also the creature Uni. She tries to get it to scatter, and then with a bit of prodding, she remembers who John is. She tells him to ask Pilot the details of what happened to Moya because she needs to follow Vela. She tells them that she is 293 cycles old, and anytime there is goodness, it will be destroyed by a cause or a weapon, and she won't let Vela have it. John says that he might have stopped Aaron if he'd known about her pregnancy sooner, since she's carrying his child. The old woman says that she just wanted him to accept Aaron's decision. She then spots and snaps up a 1-claw-legged snail-like creature, a Laka, crawling up the wall nearby, crushes its shell, and tells John that if its insides contain a substance that, when shoved up the nose, will help him forget Aaron and everything else for a time.
Yeah, that's good. I'll pass on that.
Yeah, pass on the snails at the nose. She offers him that as an alternative, which, after a moment's hesitation, he refuses. Then tells him to ask Vela if all the priests died here, why are there no bones? Jewel and Dargo are using a Cerex carver to uncover symbols on one of the walls, and Dargo tells her he's really enjoying being here, so he doesn't know when he'll head off with Crichton. Vela shows up and tells him that the symbol is a prayer wheel found on every wall. She asks why he is using the carver, as unskilled hands can be perilous. The process that strips away age when it hits living flesh absorbs the molecular signature of whatever it touches, and she proceeds to turn a bug into a rock. A little foreshadowing there, maybe.
So watch where you point those things.
Yeah. And they just walk around with them on their arms. Anyway. As Grayza takes a bath, Braca tells her it's impossible for the command carrier to land due to interference. but Marauders, with their less sophisticated technology, can make it through. The dig site will remain habitable for another 40 to 50 arns. She then calls Braca closer and makes him get on his knees. He tells her the only other ship in the vicinity is a dead Leviathan in decayed orbit, and he's preparing a squad now. Grayza wipes some sort of sweaty fluid off her body and wipes it onto his lips, seemingly bringing him under her complete control. He reassures her that he's not bothered by what's happened to Scorpius, and she tells him that they will go to the planet with 3 Marauders and 20 soldiers. She will go herself to see if somehow she can use Crichton. Perhaps Scorpius' enemy can be her friend, as Braca continues to try and get closer to kiss her. Jewel is with Vela, and Vela asks if Jewel will keep studying when they leave the dig, while Dargo is around the corner listening. Jewel says that she will continue if allowed, and when questioned about him, says Dargo is her friend. Vela states that he is not her equal. Intellectually, Luckans are an inferior subspecies, and she will be blamed for any of his mistakes, which Jewel knows and accepts. John is outside when Tarnat brings the old woman out at gunpoint. He arrested her because she told him what John was planning. She bites Tarnat's arm and runs to safety behind John, continually egging him on to shoot Tarnat, saying they won't use the probes for good. John tries to persuade Tarnat that he's not a threat. He just wants Moya to come so he can leave, except for one thing, and he punches Tarnat, saying, "Do not point your guns at people." The old woman tries to get John to punch Tarnat again and shows him how it's done.
Yeah, that was funny.
Yeah, that was a good spot.
Here, like this.
She says that he has to shoot people because Vela will take the probes and use them as a weapon. That's why she sent the rest of the dig team away. There was once peace here, and she thinks that John should see what was lost, so she blows some herbs in his eyes to make him see the ancient world. He sees priests, a goat-like alien creature, and a pyramid-shaped children's tile. The woman says that a peaceful threat within us all, it started here. She makes John see the effect of the Darnaz probes, and when the vision ends, he tells her what he saw, and she blows more herbs to send him to sleep.
Yeah, she loves those herbs, man, I tell you.
Yeah, it's like a superpower. He awakens in the water, woken by the creature Uni, who he initially runs from. Uni explains that the old woman left him in the river, and that Vela has found the location of the 3rd probe underground, and the old woman swears she will kill Vela to stop her from using it as a weapon, and she took John's gun. On Elec, Pilot is chanting when Rigel disturbs her, so he pets her and tells her that no one's here and to carry on. Meanwhile, Dargo asks Jewel why she didn't stick up for him with Vela. Jewel tells him that most Interions think Luxans are inferior, but on pressing, she says that she thinks he's unusual for a Luxan. Rigel calls to Kozu and asks if she's finished with the module, and she gets it started. Back on Arnesks, Jewel says that she never believed any of them cared what she thought, but Dargo does care, and if someone would have criticized her, he would have stuck up for her. John is looking for the old woman, who herself is trying to find Vela with his gun in tow, to stop her from destroying another world. She is hearing voices saying, "Don't let them use it." Vela finds something, but someone comes up from behind her and turns her into a rock, so she's part of the wall. John spots the shot and finds Vela, only to be met by Dargo, wearing the Cerex carver. He tries to keep John quiet, and when Tarnat comes over, Dargo knocks him out, grabbing Uni, who is trailing behind. As the old woman prays for Vela outside, Jewel and Chiana join John and Dargo. John asks why he knocked out Tarnat, and Dargo replies that if Tarnat had seen him with Vela, he would have attacked, and then he would be dead. John wonders if the old woman did it, as she's been acting strange.
What do you mean acting? She's been strange since they met her.
I mean, yeah. So she fits right in with the crew, right?
Yep.
On Elec, Rigel tells Sikozu that if she's leaving in the module, then so is he. She says the module won't travel for more than an Arn, so no, she's not trying to escape. Suddenly, she picks up a coded Peacekeeper transmission, having earlier modified the module to pick them up, conveniently, and discovering the 3 Marauders heading for the planet. She tells Rigel to contact Moya and warn her not to approach the planet, then to hide and shield his life signature while she goes down to the planet to warn them. John is with Tarnat outside looking for the old woman when he gets a case of deja vu. Remembering this place from his vision, he uses a carver to find the child's tile he saw in the vision. He recognizes one of the symbols as possibly being ancient Egyptian, while Tarnat says that one is Interion and the other one may be early Sabatian. The symbols mean peace and security. Dargo is trying to contact Chiana from his ship as he's preparing for a flyover to find the old woman when he gets proximity warnings. John tells Tarnat that there's a link between his world and this world. He spots Chiana, who whispers, "Peacekeepers," and outsteps the entourage, killing Tarnat. Dargo is looking for Chiana when Sikozu appears above him, telling him that they've already been captured. Meanwhile, John and Chiana are thrown to the floor as Grayza approaches. She tells him that she can make things easy for him, and to prove her goodwill, she gets Braca to bring in Scorpius, who is on a leash and dribbling. She says that he'll never bother John again and gets him to kiss her feet. When she offers him to John, he tells her he can't come up with anything better to do to him than that. She strokes more fluid off her chest and makes John smell it, saying he might like what she wants. John grabs her, but only for a kiss. She tells him to wait an Arn and then they'll meet. Rigel wakes Pilot to try and get her to calm Moya, but Pilot can't do it. Braca tells Grayza that they've captured an Interion, Nabari, and an old Traskin, but nothing on the Luxon or the Peacekeeper trader. They have about 20 Arns left on the planet when Grayza notices Scorpius regaining motor stimulus, so Braca changes the rod. Meanwhile, Uni is seen securing the 2 found probes are safe. Locked up, Chiana tells the old woman that Crichton found a tile, as Jewel is depressed and tells that she stole things from Diggs before to learn more, but never from here. She dreamed of this temple. The old woman gets Chiana to distract a guard by letting her go to the bathroom. Meanwhile, Grayza uses more fluid to get John under control, despite his resistance, and they get it on with John offering her whatever she wants. The old woman finds John curled up, haunted by Grayza's violation of him, telling him that the magnetics must push the visions further. The suggested becomes real. Grayza doesn't know that John saw the probes, since the Peacekeepers must never have it. He knows where the 3rd probe landed, and she thinks it's her fault. She only wanted to show him peace, but somehow she showed him what he must not know. She blows more herbs and tells him that Grayza can never know where the 3rd probe is, so he must die. As she repeats, "Forgive me," she makes him walk to the edge of the cliff, and as Braca arrives on the scene, John jumps over the edge and into the water below. And the old woman says, "He'll never tell you now. Never." To be continued.
Yeah. Well, that's the end of Farscape. John's dead. Okay.
Yeah, and that's where we said it was a finale, right?
Yeah.
A little bit of trivia about this episode. Many of the scenes were filmed in the same locations as the climatic sequence in Mission Impossible 2. The story for this 2-parter was originally going to be the finale for Season 3. The previously on Farscape segment includes scenes shot for Crichton Kicks that were not used in the episode due to time constraints. The producers felt that including them here would bring the audience up to speed. See? Told you hadn't seen them before.
It was so previous that we never knew what they were.
Yeah, it was previous. It just was previously unshown. It should have been previously not seen on Farscape. That would have been the way to do it. The strange goat seen in Crichton's vision was nicknamed Goatzilla by Jim Henson's Creature Shop and fulfilled David Kemper's longtime desire to see a star goat on the series. Wayne Pygram suggested to director Rowan Woods that Scorpius be led around on the dog leash to emphasize his dramatic change in situation. Jewel's physical appearance received some minor alterations from this episode onwards. Her hair now remains permanently red, and she is given matching makeup above her eyes, which was matched with Vela, another Interion. Her eyes were also made a brighter shade of green. And finally, a deleted scene from the episode showed Dargo explaining to Chiana that he had a change of heart. Killing Macton would not bring his wife back. So instead, Dargo transmitted a message to Macton indicating he knew his location, feeling that having his enemy live in fear that Dargo could turn up at any moment would be better than killing him. So that's the end of our first 2-parter of the season. What'd you think?
Yeah, so if you couldn't maybe tell from our comments before we started this, we usually almost have nothing bad to say about Farscape's multi-part episodes. In fact, I think we said that they're like some of the best of the series. And kind of, I think maybe our harshest critique of a multi-part before this was the 3-part Look at the Princess story, remember? And then which we thought was more like 2.5 parts. You
Right.
know, the part with the Leviathan creators wasn't really needed. It's kind of like filler. So kind of here with this first episode, I, I was totally confused by the old woman and what she was doing. Like it just didn't seem to make any sense. And then Dargo was seemingly all happy and just going to hang out here forever and do archaeology stuff, which now we know they cut a scene out, so that makes more sense after the fact. But it sure didn't help while we're watching the episode.
Right.
It's like, weren't you going to go after your wife's killer, and that's why you left last season? And now you're like, yeah, I'll just stay here. I'm like, huh? What? So
Yeah, we definitely put the band back together pretty quick
yeah,
here.
so that would have gone a long way to maybe not making that like couple of minutes confusing. But now, of course, it makes everything understandable. So, but a little late when you're watching it. But and then yeah, back to our crazy old woman friend here. I don't know what's going on. Is she possessed? Is she being influenced somehow by these priests that used to be on the planet? I mean, I don't know. But other than those kind of points there, it was okay overall. It wasn't amazing, but it did set up our little mystery to solve about these probes and where the priests go. Are they really dead? Like she said, are there any bones? I don't know. So are they dead? And then the little children's tile that has different language symbols on it. So is Earth somehow linked to this planet? Which would be cool, and that would explain again the usual sci-fi trope of all aliens look like Earth people. So yeah,
Yeah, I was definitely getting Stargate vibes from that, right? That's what I
hmm
was thinking, especially when they went the Egyptian route.
yeah. So did they settle Earth or vice versa? Well, it could be vice versa because we didn't leave Earth, but somehow we come from Sebastian somehow, or whatever. Who knows? So maybe again next episode they'll explain the mystery here. Did love the command carrier scenes with Scorpius being tortured and later broken and on a leash. So I loved it because you want him to get what's coming to him, and that's about as good as you can get. Like John said, he's like, I can't think of anything worse to do to him than you did. So, and yet when he gets free, not if, he's coming for Braca and Grayza. You know it. That could be interesting in the next this part of the season or whatever. And yeah, as we mentioned, I was confused by the previously Farscape segment because we did watch the last one like a month ago, and as we record this, and I'm like, wait a minute, where are these scenes at? What? I don't remember any of these scenes.
Yeah, yeah, I actually stopped and backed out to make sure I was watching the right episode because it said previously on, and I'm like, well, junk, I haven't seen this, so I guess I skipped an episode.
The info button, and be like, no, it's episode 2. I'm like,
Yep.
huh, okay. So yeah, I'm glad that they did put that there because it does explain things. So again, I guess you couldn't find 30 seconds to put that into the prior episode, but okay, whatever. I mean, you could assume and fill in the gaps that Braca is now captain because Scorpius is done, and Gray's is in charge now. And since Scorpius did blow up the command carrier and have all his research destroyed, so he's now no longer as important as he was, and now Grace is in charge and it's her command carrier. Okay, you could assume that, but it was nice to see it because that's I'm watching a TV show. I want to see it, not have it explained to me. And I guess long story short, I guess overall, not really wowed by the episode. So hopefully they bring it home in the second part here. What do you think?
Yeah, I have to admit, I'm glad it just wasn't just me. I enjoyed the action parts of the episode, and I think we'll get into that as we kind of go. But I spent most of the episode confused, and I feel like I've said that a lot about Farscape lately. They seem to be on a roll of me being confused for most of an episode. But usually by the end of it, I feel like I get into the swing of things. I catch up, right? And I'm into it. And this time, not so much. It was like, and part of that, yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head earlier. It's the old woman, right? There's a lot of the things with her that it's just like nobody says anything to her. Nobody comments on it. She just does weird stuff, and everybody's like, yeah, she does weird stuff, and blows something in your face and subliminal messages. I don't know. It's like it's a very odd thing that they've introduced with her, and it's taken me some getting used to.
Yeah, so now I'm kind of hoping that they're all under some kind of like subtle influence or something that would explain why they're just off. But again, we have a whole episode to go, so we'll see. And yeah, like you said, that they're kind of bringing the band back together a little quickly. Of course, otherwise it could be kind of boring to have most of them off camera for a while. So
Well, yeah, but we did spend what a large part of last season with a split crew.
yeah,
So
if they do it right, yeah. Whereas here, I guess they just decided they have probably maybe a lot more story to tell this season. So now we've already been,
bam.
now basically everybody's back except Aaron. And yeah, the planet that John thought they were on somehow, however he knew that from last episode, was correct. Here they are. So I don't know, plot knowledge. Okay, go with it, whatever.
Yeah, although they are missing Pilot and Moya, at least for this episode, right? I mean, I know they said that they were there, but I'm not sure how they were there because the last time we saw them, unless I missed another previously on segment, they blipped through the wormhole and left John exposed, right? Or all by himself. So,
Yeah, it sounds like they cut another scene out of. I know that they one off said, "Oh yeah, Moya and them are looking for Aaron," and then that was it. But then they already knew about the planet and the magnetic storms, and they had limited time. So obviously they Jewel and them did talk to John and the other crew before, before this. Dargo does not seem surprised about Sikozu. So obviously he didn't meet her before until then because she's on the ship the whole time. So I guess John said, "Oh yeah, by the way, picked up somebody," you know. So
Yeah, I feel like we missed something there,
yeah, or
but
it's just plot shortcuts because who cares? Let's just get on with the story, which maybe they could explain that some more. But anyway, whatever. And it's cool, they had that our little cool creature friend here, maybe friend. I'm kind of hoping it would have been more evil or like abduct somebody because it looks like the creature from the Black Lagoon. So I thought that would have been cool if they would have played into that. But maybe they will because it seems friendly. But is it? We don't know, right? It's only the first episode. So obviously that'll hopefully get explained more in the next episode. Of course, then again, they've done such a great job explaining nothing so far that and cutting scenes that explain the things. Maybe not.
yeah, it's more of the I don't know what I'm watching, you know. But yeah, it's a cool creature, like you say. Maybe we'll find out more. Yeah, maybe we won't. But the creature shop did a good job on him. So yeah,
Yeah, definitely like watching their old black and white movies from the where it was 50s. So, but
yeah, that or what was it, Merman from He-Man? That was what
yeah,
I was
right.
thinking of. But
I was just watching one of the Invincible spin-offs. It's like Adam Eve. I don't know if you've seen Invincible yet, but they did like a little one-off on one of the characters, and one of the people in one of the super groups looks like that kind of creature. It looks like a fish creature kind of thing. So I'm like, oh, that looks like that guy.
nice.
But there are some interesting things in this episode. We get to learn more about our new evil and ruthless peacekeeper in charge, Grayza, because we only saw her briefly in the other season and like episode and a half or whatever. We get to learn that her sweat or whatever has something in it that makes men, at least so far, because it's only been two people, become really infatuated with her. That would pretty much do anything for her. So that's kind of interesting. Seems to be only temporary, so that's kind of good because otherwise John's done. I mean, that's in the end of the show, right? So, and does it work on just Sebaceans or like people that are close to them, like humans? Would it work on Dargo and Rigel? Don't know yet. Maybe they'll come up during the season. I don't know. But it must not work on Scorpius or Scarens or half Scarens because otherwise she probably just would have done that on him and saved all the trouble of the torture and things. Unless, of course, you're is into that kind of thing and didn't want to do that. I don't know. But hey, it's only two episodes in the season. We got a lot more to go, so I'm sure we'll see more of how all that works.
That they're definitely going to find a way. That they definitely have found a way. I should say, to step it up over the oddness of Scorpius. Right. I mean, I really didn't think they could do that. Scorpius was kind of a very odd and interesting character, and had some creepy moments. And they're like, no, no, we'll turn it to 11. Here you go.
Yeah, so speaking of that, and Scorpius, what do you think about that? It was kind of interesting, and to see him like brought so low as to be like this little groveling slave, I guess, to whatever Grayson wanted him to do. So I mean, he's going to escape at some point, but is he going to escape next episode, like in a Marauder or something, and go off on his own, and plot revenge on anybody and everybody? Or is he going to join the crew on Moya? Or is Moya not around next time? We still have Elac running around, although not much anymore. She's kind of going at this point. Or is he going to stay a little puppet for a little bit and at some point later get free?
Personally, I think he's going to end up joining the crew of Moya. Right. I mean, that would seem to be the course to kind of play out towards the end of the series for our final season. It's just one big happy family on board Moya, right? Because that won't cause any drama at all. Uh, I mean, Moya may have to grow another deck or something at the rate they're adding extra passengers. We just need to bring back Stark, and we'll have a whole crazy wing that could just have Scorpius and the crazy old woman and Stark just kind of occupy a wing of the ship or something.
Yeah, because that would definitely be your drama filled. You wouldn't need to go to any planets or have anything else. You have Scorpius running around, and you got Erin. If she comes back, carrying Crichton's child, and now Scorpius is nearby. That would be all kinds of fun. But we shall see.
And missing Harvey this episode, though. I guess I will say that.
Yeah, true. Yeah, so now, yeah, we haven't seen what Harvey thinks that Scorpius is not dead yet, which they thought he might be when the command carrier blew, because he's kind of just walked away into the back of the hangar there, and we thought, oh well, not that we knew he wouldn't die probably, but everybody else seemed to think he was. All right, so let's kind of go over this confusing main plot here. So it looks like this race on this planet had a truce with the Skarns and Peacekeepers for apparently a really long time, 500 generations, which if that's what 25 years, that's a lot. and no one knows how they did it. And of course, now you can't ask them because they're all gone.
Somewhere.
And people didn't like that.
No bones
Yeah,
about it.
right. Literally, no bones. And people obviously don't like, some people don't like peace, so they send those 3 probes that wiped out the planet or made them leave or whatever. Vela's close to finding all these probes that can, in theory, undo all this. Although, for some reason yet unexplained, the old woman thinks that she's going to turn them into weapons and do the same thing to this planet that to other planets. She tries to get John to shoot, everybody, which he doesn't want to. He just wants to find Moya and get out of here. Then she's messing with him again with these herbs and visions. And at the end, I guess she thinks it's all gone to pieces, and John knows what this final thing is, and he'll wind up telling Grayza. So, in order to keep him from doing that, she blows more stuff into his face and has him go jump off a cliff. So I'm like, okay, what you think about all that?
So I guess we get the answer to if somebody tells you to jump off a cliff. And anyway, because John did it. Yeah. I somehow missed until we were doing the recap that the creature from the Black Lagoon has a couple of the probes already, right? So I guess he took them to keep them safe, and yeah, we'll get more explained hopefully next episode. I kind of got lost in the crazy old one's craziness threads to keep track of what we were trying to accomplish there, but yeah, it was as we've kind of stressed, I think it was a little bit back and forth on the crazy scale for this one.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if he had like the last probe and he was hiding it, so they wouldn't get the 3. But I guess he had 2 of the 3, so he must have stole them from Vela for some reason. So maybe he thinks she's also going to do bad things with it. I don't know. I have no idea what's going on. So, and another thing we have no idea what's going on is who killed Vela. So she gets merged into the stone there, and right then Dargo comes right in with that carver that can do that. But he didn't do it because why would he? He was having a good time being here, right? So that's just a misdirection. It was before the Peacekeepers came, so it's not them. The old woman had the pulse pistol, and she wasn't going to do that. So if we do our process of elimination, and of course the TV law of conservation of characters, the only one it could possibly be is that creature, Uni, the Black Lagoon ripoff here. So I think he's got more secrets than we know, and we'll find out next episode, hopefully, because somebody please explain what's going on.
Yeah, I can agree with that. I mean, otherwise it'd be a huge waste of that character, right? I mean, so far all he's done is take the stuff, unless he's going to turn out to be like one of the original inhabitants that's become water dwelling because of something, or they could pull something like that out. But the only other character that was left was besides him was the other Itineron, right? The one that the Peacekeepers kill as soon as they get there. So
Yeah, so if he did it, that was kind of a waste because he didn't get any payoff. So yeah,
right, I was thinking him until he got killed. So yeah, I don't know.
yeah, seems to be a theme of this episode. Yeah, that could be the episode title. I don't know.
I don't know.
Yeah, so that's kind of it. I mean, I don't know really what else to go over here. Anything else you want to mention? I guess we do learn that a new thing at Dargo's ship, that he's named Lola or Lola after his wife. So that's kind of nice.
Or the
Yeah,
bunny.
yeah. It's got a cloaking device. So hey, of course, why not? Let's give it everything.
Let's let Dargo have a cool toy. He's carried around a sword for a while, so time to give him something new.
Yeah, now we got our cloaking ship that can destroy like Leviathans in one shot, that kind of thing. So hey, why not? Maybe we'll have more space battles in the season 4 here.
Yeah, I don't know. They may have blew the budget, so we'll see.
Yeah. I hope not. I felt only 2 episodes of that.
Yeah, it's gonna be Deep Space Nine from now on. Everything's gonna be on the ship. They don't go anywhere.
Yeah, it's like, we won't find Moya for another half the season. We'll just fly around Dargo's ship the whole time. Yeah. So anything else you want to talk about, or is it pretty much like
No,
yeah,
I think we got it. We'll see what we get next episode and see if it lands. But I mean, definitely not on the worst scale as we rate these things, and I'm sure we'll come back when we do our season recap. But yeah, a little odd for a two-parter, but we'll see.
yep, yeah, they got a whole episode to explain what they just tried to explain this first time. So we will see. And speaking of which, on the next podcast, we will do that. We will review season 4, episode 3, What Was Lost, part 2, Resurrection. And playing our usual guessing game of what could that mean? Well, the obvious, if the planet's dead and desolate from all these probes. Maybe they find this probe and bring it all back, resurrect it, so to speak. And, they found no bodies or bones, so maybe they resurrect the people too, wherever they went, if they went somewhere. Yeah, I don't know. And maybe you could apply resurrection analogy to one or more of our main characters somehow. I don't know how, but it's probably more the planet, I would guess, or the people on the planet. I don't know. Or yeah, I don't know. That's about all I got.
Well, theoretically, John's dead now, right? Because the old woman's had him jump off the cliff and uh, said he couldn't tell Braca anything anymore. So I'm sure he's going to come back from the dead. Otherwise, that's going to be a weird way to end the season. So maybe John's the resurrection?
Yeah. Or there were three of them when he got twinned. It wasn't just two. No.
Oh.
Long callback.
Or, since we're if we want to go way out there, I could recircle back to that theory that the probes somehow caused the priest race to become aquatic, and that they're actually the mer people from the Black Lagoon. There's a society of them living under the waves somewhere. I don't know. That's just going real crazy, though.
Yeah, there's a whole colony of them under the water we haven't seen yet. And they'll all come out next time.
Yeah, it's going to be like the Gungans and that movie that kind of looked like Star Wars.
Yeah. All the Atlanteans from Black Panther 2, which I haven't seen yet. But anyway. But yeah, hopefully we'll get this all wrapped up nicely and we'll move on to finding Aaron and all that good stuff.
Sounds like a plan.
So that's your homework for the Farscape part of next time. So after the little interlude here, we will discuss the last 4 episodes ever, entirely, forever of the Bad Batch. All right, so keeping with our every third of a season here of Bad Batch that we've done so far, we'll cover the last 4 episodes here, which really, as I said before, was kind of really 5 episodes because that last episode was about twice the length of all the rest. So really, you get 16 episodes. So it matches the other 2 seasons. So
good enough.
That's my math. I like it. I'll stick with it. All right, so we'll just do our usual every other one here. So I guess I'll kick it off since you did the giant Farscape recap. Give you a little break here.
Yeah, give me the break and give me the long recap at the end.
Yeah, right.
I got it. See how your brain works.
I'll give you the double-sized episodes. You get to review 3. I get to review 2. That's how it works. Yeah. All right, so we start up here with episode 12, Juggernaut. CX2 returns Omega to Tantiss, where she got captured last time, where Emery tests her blood and confirms that it's exactly what they need. Which, yep. Hemlock takes Omega to be held with the other young Project Necromancer test subjects. Once the Imperial forces leave Pabu from last time, Crosshair suggests to Hunter and Wrecker that they get the location for Tantiss from Rampart, remember him, who is imprisoned in an Imperial labor camp on Erebus. And with Fee's help, they infiltrate Erebus, hijack a prison transfer vehicle, and escape with Rampart. On Fee's ship, Rampart explains that no one really knows where Tantiss's coordinates are, but he's willing to help them find the facility in exchange for not being returned to the labor camp.
Which leads us into episode 13, Into the Breach. Omega is introduced to her fellow Project Necromancer test subjects, Eva, Jax, Sammy, and Baron. She tells them that she has escaped from Tantiss before and plans to do so again, using a passage behind their cell walls. The Bad Batch and Rampart rendezvous with Echo and a stolen Imperial shuttle, with which they used to infiltrate an Imperial relay station on Coruscant to find the coordinates for Tantiss. Unable to extract the information from the station's databanks, Echo decides to sneak on board a science shuttle bound for Tantiss and disable its proximity sensors. This allows the others to attach their stolen shuttle to it just as it enters hyperspace.
And then we have the penultimate episode, episode 14, Flash Strike. Unfortunately, Hemlock is alerted that the Bad Batch infiltrated the relay station and sends fighters to intercept the incoming shuttle. Hunter, Wrecker, Crosshair, and Rampart are forced to crash near Mount Tantiss and continue on foot, hunted by stormtrooper patrols. Inside the base, with the base on high alert, Omega takes advantage of that situation to scout her planned escape route and finds a Zillo beast in an underground enclosure. Back in the jungle, Rampart accidentally awakens a large creature that attacks them, of course, and he gets separated from the others and gets captured. Echo, meanwhile, infiltrates the base and encounters Emery, who tells him about the other children being held with Omega.
Which brings us to the finale, episode 15, The Cavalry Has Arrived. The children escape and free the Zillo beast, which goes on a rampage through the facility. Before they find Echo and Emery, Hunter, Wrecker, and Crosshair infiltrate the base, but are captured by Hemlock's CX operatives. Echo and Omega free Nalase, Rampart, and the other clone prisoners, while Emery takes the other children to safety. Nalase goes to destroy the facility's data to protect Omega and prevent the Empire from using her research, but Rampart kills her and plans to use the research for leverage with the Empire. Before she dies, Nalase uses a thermal detonator to destroy the data and kill Rampart. Hemlock attempts to convert Hunter, Wrecker, and Crosshair into operatives, but Echo, Omega, and the other clones free them and defeat the existing operatives. Hemlock takes Omega hostage, but she helps Hunter and Crosshair kill him. They all escape to Pabu. Tarkin shuts down Tantiss and diverts its funding to Project Stardust. Emery decides to join Echo in helping other clones, while Omega and the Bad Batch remain on Pabu. Years later, an adult Omega leaves to join the rebellion against the Empire.
Yep, and there you have it. The Bad Batch comes to a close after 3 seasons and 47/48 episodes. So, what'd you think of the whole thing overall? Did they end it well? Was there anything left hanging or unresolved that you'd hoped they would have answered?
There are definitely some plot points that I wish we'd gotten back to, and I think I'll touch on some of those later. But overall, I really loved it. I mean, this is probably, if not my favorite, one of my favorite Star Wars stories, and they definitely stuck the landing. I did. I liked how it went out.
Yeah, I mean, I loved all 3 seasons. I still haven't watched the final season really of Clone Wars, where they kind of introduced the Bad Batch, so I gotta go back and do that. But yeah, I fell in love with him, as I'll explain here in a minute. But my one favorite character, it's a solid, fun action-packed series like all the Star Wars series usually are, even Boba Fett. And they did wrap it up nicely, which we'll get more into here in a second. But I also liked how like Filoni and the other writers kind of weave this Bad Batch crew and what they went through into the whole Star Wars universe, right? Larger universe. Because as we talked about before in several different podcasts, that they dealt with how the clones were trying to reintegrate into society after the Clone Wars. Like, they're not, warriors anymore. They're now they're to do what? How's that work? If you're bred only for one thing, how do you not do that anymore, right? And they start answering why we didn't see any or many clones in later years after this. They kind of, it looked like, started to even sow the seeds of what would become the Rebel Alliance with some of what Senator Chuchi was doing with that one guy. So it's kind of interesting to see how that kind of started to form. And yes, as I've said before in this podcast, I thought Tech might still be alive somehow and they'd come back somehow. But no, I have to finally admit or accept the fact that Tech is dead. I thought there might be some twist. I thought maybe he was one of those assassin troopers, or at the very least, one of those really specialized troopers at the end. And like when he's trying to cut Crusher's hand off, he'd be like, "No, I can't do it. Really, it's me, Tech." No, but nope, he's dead. So, oh well.
Yeah, I mean, on one hand, it would have been an interesting storyline. I did kind of wonder if they wouldn't do that, but they kind of went to that well a little bit with Echo. If you go back to the Clone Wars saga of where how Echo became what he is and part of the Bad Batch, so I'm not surprised that Filoni didn't decide to go back again.
Yeah, I think it does make sense, I guess. It helps underscore the seriousness of things when you lose a main character. So, okay, yeah. But still, it's Star Wars. No one stays dead. Well, sort of, but yeah.
Well, I don't know the way it ended with his goggles symbolically placed on the console was, you know,
Yeah,
pretty
yeah.
definitive.
Pretty much, it's been 20 years later, or how many years later? So he's not coming back. He's gone. So deal with it. And then yeah, I don't know if either one of us would have guessed that because we were trying to figure out how they would find Tantus, but I don't think we had ex-Admiral Rampart on our bingo card. So, and I honestly totally forgot all about him since we didn't even see him at all during the season, right? Up until these last couple episodes. So, they really went back into the lore of his own show to pull that one off. Although, I guess the way he went out, I suppose it was kind of fitting that he was there because he gets killed by Nalase at the end, probably in like a symbolic retribution for Rampart in last season, wiping out all the cloning facilities on Camino and an entire city too. So it's fitting.
Yeah, I agree. I think it was perfect symmetry there. It is telegraphed pretty well with I was expecting that as soon as I saw Nalase pick up the thermal detonator. You know, kind of like, okay, so that's how they're going to go out. But and just kind of circling back for Rampart a minute, you know, the episode where they free him and do the whole thing with the tanks and everything. It seems like that's like one of the current favorite tropes in Star Wars right now, because I think they've had like at least one Mandalorian episode, and there may have been something else where they have the go into the facility with a armored personnel
Hmm.
carrier, and I just feel like that's kind of like their new favorite thing. It's kind of cool.
Yeah, that was one of the big things of Mandalorian. Was it in? I don't know if you got that far yet with Andor, but yeah, it's kind of like one of their new kind of favorite
That was
set
the other
pieces
place
or
I remember
whatever. Yeah.
seeing it. Yeah, that was Andor was the other third one. I knew there was like a couple of spots where I'm like, man, it's like Tank City around here. So
Yeah. I mean, even like what in the first season of Mandalorian, right? Like he's on the Sandcrawler trying to get stuff back from the Jawas. So it's kind of the same thing. Like they love their little fast-moving, big machine kind of things. Yeah.
yeah,
Oh, let's see what other nice things we talk about. Oh, we got the so once we do get Rampart, and now we got to figure out the coordinates. It was a nice little infiltration episode with the Badge and Rampart trying to get the coordinates that they thought was on the Imperial station that was on Coruscant. So not only do you have to try and infiltrate that, you keep wondering if Rampart's going to try and turn him in, right? Like maybe second guessing being freed, or now he's back with the Imperials. Now he'd be like, look, the guys you really want, right here, look. So,
oh yeah, he's totally conniving. It was a twist you expected to come that didn't.
yeah, and probably at this point, maybe he thought that wouldn't be a good idea because he just escaped, not on his own volition, but he just escaped from Prison Planet. So probably it'd be like, hey, it's me. By the way, oh crap, I got killed. So yeah, so it's a nice twist, there, and that yeah, they couldn't get the coordinates from the station because what's Rampart's not keyed into all these secret things, even of being ex-Admiral. So Hemlock had all kinds of layers of security and things, but they have to improvise and try to get it from the shuttle going there. And yet another kind of homage to previous stuff. It ends with their ship attaching to the shuttle, like the Falcon did to the Star Destroyer, to hide from sensors and stuff.
Yeah, which there are some interesting issues with proximity sensors and what proximity means and how that works and all that fun stuff. But I'll gladly waive that off for the purpose of story in this case, right? I mean, it was action packed and dramatic, and that worked.
Yeah, because you figure at this point, yeah, it's just dramatic, but they would have to pull it off because otherwise, okay, now what? you know,
Right. Yeah, we're running out of time for contingencies.
yeah. But it's drama. It's cool. We like it. And other things I liked, I kind of like some of the like the little details that they kind of ran with. Like right after that, Echo destroys that one droid. That's like, why are you here? Which, yeah, duh. So, and then he's wearing their stormtrooper armor with his hand that ends in the whatever the computer interface. So he takes the droid's hand and puts it over top of that to like hide the fact that he's got that limitation there. And yeah, it was a great touch because then now he can really blend in and move around without trying to like. I thought he was gonna try and hide his arm with like his gun all the time or something, and eventually they would figure it out. But that was cool. I like that. Although when he did get into Tantis, though, he's really bad at acting like a trooper because he keeps telling Emery or something like, yeah, I'm just, I'm like, dude, come on. You think he'd be a little more good at that, but he does manage to fool people, except again, Emery, because she kind of figures it out at the end there. But hey, it was still fun.
Echo is one of my favorite characters, from the Clone Wars days when he was just a regular trooper and everything. And it was kind of great to see him in his element in the last couple episodes. They really, split him off, which they've done a lot this season, I think, is, or maybe in the last couple, split him off from the rest of the Bad Batch and had him do his own things with Rex. And so here you get him just, on his own on the in Tantis and on the shuttle, and just kind of doing everything really awesomely. It kind of makes you remember that before he joined the Bad Batch, he was a special forces basically. Uh, is that an ARC trooper or whatever? I never can
Hmm.
remember, but the ones that wear the kilts, So he wasn't just a regular run of the mill trooper, and he gets to show it off here where he can just basically take anybody out he wants. So
Yeah, maybe foreshadowing for things after Bad Batch, which we might talk about here in a minute.
yep,
And then yeah, we get all these nice scenes with Omega and the kids in the vault. You know, Everyone still underestimates her and just thinks she's just a clone that got went off with her clone brothers there, but nope, she knows what she's doing now. They trained her well. She snuck her way into the walls there to explore how to get out of the vault. Although when I was watching it, I was kind of thinking like, how many blood samples or whatever keep whizzing by in this like pneumatic tube sci-fi bank vault drive-through thing, whatever is going on. Like, but okay, fine, whatever. It's funny. And of course, our other Star Wars trope. There's yet another huge creature in here being experimented on somewhere else in the vault. Not sure why the Zilla Beast is there or how it's related to Project Necromancer, if it was, or maybe Hemlock had a couple things going on besides Necromancer. I don't know.
Yeah, they could do an entirely new series out there called The Ghosts of Tantiss with, all these random things roaming around outside of the facility, they've gotten loose. Almost like a Jurassic World version of Star Wars.
Yeah, because apparently the only place that's nice on Tantus is inside a building because everything else will kill you.
Right, which is similar to that Vine planet where the last lab was at,
Mhm.
right? So they evidently have a history of deadly planets they leave in their wake. So,
Yeah, you wonder like like the Empire scouting team, like let's find a place we can put this your top secret research facility. I know just the place.
well, and how many of them are escaped experiments that just make the planet worse,
Yeah,
right?
or they have really bad procedures on locking down their experiments.
Right.
And then yeah, so they finally get on the shuttle, they find the coordinates, they get their way there. So I thought, okay, great. They're gonna, detach from the shuttle, they're gonna sneak, down the planet, they're gonna infiltrate Mount Tantiss, and then of course they'll get discovered in there and have to fight their way out or fight their way to get Omega. But no, they pretty much get shot down immediately once they enter the atmosphere because Rampart or Hemlock is a smart guy and figured out that, yeah, I know what this means. They're here. So now they gotta make their way through said deadly jungle. And of course, we have another obligatory huge beast that they just run across. But Wrecker gets hurt, which is kind of interesting because they go with that and they keep him kind of a little out of it for the next few battles there. So that makes the stakes a little more interesting. And then, this is the point where I thought, Rampart would finally turn on them with the troopers out there searching for them. I thought he would be like, wave them over here, like, you're over here. But, the little beast there kind of ruined that plan probably, and he runs away and just gets captured instead.
Yeah, it makes it kind of one of the more interesting parts of the story to me, and how they ended it, because I was kind of like you. I was expecting a big rescue mission and, whole big thing, which you get, but it it almost would have worked out better from a rescue standpoint if Hunter and Crosshair had stayed out, like, and Wrecker, right? If the three of them had stayed back, or maybe stayed completely back, then wouldn't have gotten captured, and Echo and Omega could have left with the kids and Emery, and that would have been a simple escape, as we'll get into when we get to the last little bit, right? But granted, that would have had Hemlock and Tantis still out there, and we had to wrap up the entire series. But you almost could have see it from a season-ending episode where that would have been like, oh yeah, we just escaped, and we'll deal with them next season. So
Yeah, or it'd be funny, like, they finally storm in there and open the vault. It's like, okay, Omega, hey, where'd you go? Oh, she's left. What?
right,
But yeah, then speaking of that, we get our big double final episode here. So first, like we said, Omega and the kids get free, and of course, free the giant Zilla Beast, which goes on a rampage and just lays waste to like what I think like two. They say two divisions or It wasn't two squads. That's too small. It was a bunch of the troopers that were on Tantus. It kind of took out in its little escape frenzy there.
and that's basically why they had to send most of their air support after it, which is why there wasn't a lot of like any issues with the shuttles or anything around the from an air support standpoint, because they had to send everything after the Zillow
Mhm.
Beast.
And like we said, the bats get captured by Hemlock's really cool looking assassin clones. Each one's got their own special weapons. Kind of like the like where were they? Like the Snoke's guards or whatever from Last Jedi or whatever it was. Last Jedi, I forget. But yeah, so
It would have had to have been. There was no Snoke after
yeah,
that.
right. So it's cool. Got little special assassin clones with like the dual swords and the other. Like, oh, this is neat. Which I was really hoping one would be Echo, one would be Tech, but oh well. So then of course now they get captured and they have to get rescued. So of course we kind of flip the script there. So now Omega's got to not leave and come back for them now. So
Right.
and then yeah, they meet up with or actually Echo and Emery free the clones and Rampart who's there too. Yeah, well, oh well, yeah, for a little while. Yeah. And then we get that great ending battle scene inside that special wherever it was lab room or wherever they were, where we have all the clones fighting each other basically. All the good clones, the bad clones, all the clones, every clone. And then Omega gets the Wrecker free, and then he takes out some of the other clones, and then of course before they can get Rampart or Hemlock, he steals. her away there.
Yeah, I love the captured clones getting in on it, right? Because you've got the entire facility where they've been testing these guys and keeping them captured. And now you've got a whole bunch of trained warriors there at your disposal, so you may as well use them. I'll agree with you on the operative clones. They were really really cool. I was personally expecting Hemlock to have his own clones of the Bad Batch, right? So you'd have a Wrecker and a Hunter and a Crosshair of his own, because you kind of saw that with the one operative that he's been using before these last couple episodes. It was mostly a sniper kind of Crosshair type
Hmm.
character. So I kind of was expecting him to break out a really big Wrecker one and a Hunter one and all that. And they kind of were with sizes, but they weren't like 1-to-1, which is what I was expecting. I was expecting like they even looked like them. So,
Yeah, you see the one guy with
but
the
they were,
two swords that was kind of like, okay, well, Hunter has his little knife, so maybe that's kind of same kind of thing, but not quite.
yeah. But I was like, I wanted to like take off the helmets and actually be them or something. Like that was just really a clone of a clone, if that makes
Hmm.
sense. So,
Yeah, and apparently when the Crosshair did get taken down back in the landing bay, I guess the one like cuts his hand off there, so it's kind of ooh, you don't see it, but you kind of see it happening. You're like, oh, maybe they won't do it or whatever, but
oh no,
yeah,
they did it.
nope, they did it. And then we get another kind of great scene there where Hemlock finally gets what's coming to him, and which also kind of resolves our issue with Crosshair's hand and his shooting skill. So now that hand's gone. So if there's a hands problem, it's gone. So problem solved, right? No,
Right. Shoot with the other hand
yeah.
solves it.
So Hunter's like she's gonna do something, and when she does, go ahead and shoot her restraints. He's like, no, I can't really. I only got one hand here, whatever. But of course, he's like, Hunter's like, no, you can do it. Which of course, that's the typical final hero's journey, right? When everything's at the worst possible it could be, he rise to the occasion. He makes a shot one-handed, or, I guess resting the gun on maybe what was it, Hunter's shoulder or whatever. Omega makes her move, gets her cuff shot off, and then of course they blast Hemlock like 47 times, and you're like, oh, okay, he's dead. But just make sure you think he's probably going to be dead. He falls over the edge of the platform, down thousands of feet, whatever. So he's really dead.
Wait, well, that actually just means there's no body, right? Because now he can come back because you know, there's no body. They survive.
Well,
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 except for
no,
Tech.
yeah, see, that's
Uh,
what I thought. See, but no, I got proved wrong there. So yeah.
but yeah, that was a great resolution and an awesome scene. Because especially the fact that it was he was being supported by Hunter, right? So the entire 3 seasons of Bad Batch has been. It started with the good soldiers follow orders and Crosshair leaving his brothers, and it ends with them supporting each other and finishing the mission. So full circle.
Yep, they bring it home. Yeah, and then just of course as the batch gets everybody on board a shuttle and leaves, Tarkin shows up to see what's going on here and get his update. And we do learn that yes, all the Project Necromancer data has been destroyed. So Nalise's thermal detonator there did a good job, and he diverts all remaining funds to Project Stardust, which of course is the Death Star project. So another nice tie into the movies and TV shows. And apparently now it'll take a lot more years for Force-sensitive clones to become a thing. Not until Mandalorian, after the Empire falls, and way, way later in the New Empire.
Yeah, somehow that will become a
Yeah,
thing.
so
Somehow.
somehow they did, we kind of backdoor it to say like, well, they're going to do it, but we kind of postponed it for 20 plus years or 40 years or, so.
Yeah, so somehow they'll return. I got it.
Yeah. And then we have what we think is the ending. So, they're all on Pabu. Emery goes off with Echo to help resettle clones with the help of Senator Tucci, our clone rights advocate, and possible potential rebellion starter. Don't know, but it kind of looked like it in that one episode. Probably the kids that were abducted get sent back to their parents, but they said they were looking for them. So I'm assuming the good thing, and they found them and got them back to their parents. And then we think this is it. We have a nice ending scene where the remaining clones are left. Omega and Batcher are sitting next to a tree on Pabu, just relaxing and sighing that, job's done. We can finally take off the armor and relaxed.
Fade to
Yeah,
black.
fade to black, but then unfade to black, where apparently years later, an adult Omega meets an old gray-haired, or mostly gray-haired hunter in that little grotto where their ships are. And Omega says she's going to go off and join the rebellion and be a pilot. And you want to come too? And Hunter's like, nah, I'm kind of done, but if you need us, we'll be there. And Omega and their little gonk droid leaves in the shuttle, and off we go. So I thought that was a great kind of, oh, by the way, here's a real ending, but it also sets up things that could possibly happen in future series if they wanted to.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. They definitely stuck the landing and then stuck the second landing because while there are a lot of loose ends that they can, out there, they can almost all be mined for future shows. So, this may be the end of the Bad Batch, but we've got, you know, we had an episode where they brought Ventress
Hmm.
in. Uh, we didn't really get to do a lot with her, so maybe there's a back door there to spin off a Ventress series. What's going to go with her? We've got, what happens with Echo and Emery, the clones and how they're resettling them. So you could do a whole spinoff on Echo and Emery. Oh yeah, Rex. Rex wasn't in the last couple. How do he, Gregor, and Wolf, who we did see Wolf once this season, end up on the sand planet fishing for worms? I was in the Rebels, so
Hmm.
where they pick Rex up. So obviously, there's some time span there they could play with. And that's all not to mention that we now have an adult Omega joining the rebellion, right? So that's what, pre-episode 4?
Hmm.
So somewhere between Rebels and episode 4 or Rebels timeline. There's a whole lot of open threads that they can pick up to do another show off of.
Yeah, and Echo wasn't part of the Rex Gregor Wolf thing. So what happened to him? Is he still alive? Did he die somewhere along the way? We don't know. So again, there's stories there that could be told. Yeah, and I
Yeah.
did somewhere, one article I read somewhere, I can't remember the website, or I would tell you to go look at it, but someone had theorized that Omega would meet like a more tragic kind of end where maybe she survives the rebellion, and if she is full of midichlorians or whatever, maybe she goes to like Luke's Jedi Academy post Return of the Jedi, and then maybe meets her fate when Kylo Ren like wipes out all the students there. So I don't know, but I'm like, yeah, I don't think so. Why would you want to ruin it like that?
Well, and the other interesting thing of it is that I guess it's still open for interpretation, but it's not determined yet that she's force sensitive,
Hmm.
right? Because she's a she has the capability of being the coupling, I think, when mixed with other stuff. I don't know. I guess that's another open ending thing that they really didn't answer is she force sensitive herself, or does she have the some kind of genetic thing that allows her to be used to mix midichlorians into other clones? I don't know. I don't know what that means. So
Yeah, because it kind of seemed like when Ventress was training her that, or well, just seeing if she had something that, she was the one that summoned the big giant fish thing, but then maybe she didn't, and it would just look like it. So yeah, we don't really, they don't leave it one way or the other. They kind of leave it there for you to just guess one way or the other. So
yep. So like I said, there's a lot of potential out there for future Star Wars shows. So
yeah, and we still have
they
we still
should
have
they
like the
should they should hire us to do some
yeah,
stories.
and
Is what I'm
and they have
hearing.
like 10-ish years, 10, 12 years, however long it's been since the Hello Happy Tree ending, and you know a grown Omega, so they could even do that if they wanted to. Although you couldn't call it Bad Batch because you already did that, so it'd be something else. But I don't know. So who knows?
Yeah, I'm content with them letting that family grow up, but like you said, there's plenty of other clone stuff you could do, or just pick up Omega from that point.
Yeah, if you want to do like another kind of Rebels era, or like a adjacent to Luke and company in the rebellion, like maybe she was a pilot somewhere else that wasn't on Yavin 4 at the end there. She was off doing something else, or she was that last
Ooh,
Y-wing pilot that we saw. Because there's like two X-wings coming back, the Millennium Falcon, and some Y-wing that didn't get destroyed at the Death Star fight, right? So maybe that was her.
see, I've got it. They could do the Rogue Squadron series that they wanted to do with a bunch of X-wing pilots and have Omega be one of the X-wing pilots.
Yeah, there we go. Because I love those books, the Rogue Squadron books, so that'd be cool. Of course, that's the uncanon universe now, so yeah.
Right, but if they took a lot of those stories and did it with Omega as the main character, it'd be, you know,
Yeah,
kind of a neat little
they
thing.
could still spin off, like or you have like shows of her meeting up with Echo and the other clones as they're resettling clones. Maybe there's a whole planet full of clones we don't know about that. They all resettled there and they're all farmers and whatever. They're having a good time. I don't know. Lots to do and more hopeful animated Star Wars coming. Or if they want to, like, isn't the next movie maybe gonna like wrap up like all the live action stuff, like the Mandalorian, Boba Fett, and all that stuff, Ahsoka and whatever that they thought might happen. So maybe they will have like live action Bad Batch show up. or live action Omega show.
Yeah. Well, if they actually use it for more Thrawn, then yeah, they're going to need all the help they can get. So
Yeah, and they already pulled it off with Rebels and Ahsoka coming to life as live action characters. So anything is possible. Anything else about our
no,
current favorite
I
Bad
think
Batch?
we've
I think they wrapped it up nicely and gave us the satisfying ending that and definitive yet open-ended ending.
yeah, I think we've raved about it enough. I think I said it was really good, and I'm looking forward to what they do next or what Star Wars we choose to talk about next.
Yeah, because like what, a month from now, I think you said like the Acolyte's coming out, right? So that's in
Yeah, that'll be an interesting one. That's like
like pre,
High Republic
yeah, it's like the High Republic
stuff.
era.
So
Yeah, so that'd be fun. Haven't seen that in live action before. I've started reading some of the books, so we'll see like how that
yeah,
works.
you got me beat. I haven't done anything with
Yeah,
those
well, I
yet.
read
So
like the first book. Yeah, I have the second book. I haven't read it yet. And then we got like the what Tales of the Empire, right? And we both haven't watched Tales of the Jedi either yet. So
yeah, we could do a little back history there.
you know, it's Skeleton Crew is also coming out this year too, right? I think was it 2024?
I think it's still on the radar. I don't know if we have a hard release date, but it's supposed to be before the end of the year or
Yeah,
something. So,
so plenty of Star Wars left to go this year.
which is good because Marvel's dragging. So
Yeah, I'm waiting for the Deadpool Wolverine movie, but yeah. And if they ever, well, when they do the Daredevil season 4, I mean the new Daredevil,
yeah, totally
yeah,
distinct.
not season 4, but yeah, right, but really kind of season 4. All right, so yeah, so if we do one of those things, you'll know about it in the show notes or our episode title next time, or we'll just stick with the one Farscape until Acolyte or something comes on. So stay tuned, look at the notes, and that's what we're doing, as always. So, and with that, we'll see you next time. Goodbye.
Goodbye.